I made a video a few days ago talking about how Oliver Darcy of CNN said that InfoWars got banned because of pressure from the media, not because these companies decided to take action necessarily. That it was kind of, look, the pressure from all of these companies undoubtedly had an effect on YouTube, Facebook, and all these other platforms getting rid of InfoWars. However, these companies like, Facebook and Pinterest and LinkedIn said that InfoWars was violating its terms of service, and that's why they got taken down. So I have to wonder, as I mentioned in my last video, which is it? Is it a violation of hate speech, in which case Alex Jones is responsible on all these other platforms and he's probably going to get taken down on these other platforms? Or is it political? Taking Alex Jones off of LinkedIn to me sounds really political. Why would you do that? But I've got a couple stories here. And it's interesting now because it seems like Buzzfeed might be taking the stance that InfoWars was not removed because of hate speech, but there might be something else going on. And perhaps Oliver Darcy is correct. It was media pressure. These companies didn't want to face bad PR, so they got rid of InfoWars. I don't know if you've ever seen Fight Club, but there's a scene in Fight Club where the narrator, I think his name is Jack, says working for a car company, what he does is they determine if the cost of a lawsuit would be more, the cost of lawsuits would cost more than the cost of a recall. And that's how they determine whether or not to recall. So basically, if you have 10 cars, one of them will fail, and a recall of all the cars will cost you $10 million, but you only got to pay out $1 million in a lawsuit, let the car fail, let the people die because you save money. And that's how I view PR in this instance. I'm sure all these companies were looking at InfoWars and thinking, are we going to lose money if we ban InfoWars? The answer is yes. On YouTube, Alex Jones had, I think, 2.4 million subscribers and tons of fans, and it's going to be bad for the platform. They're going to lose users. They're going to generate controversy, so they just ignored it. But once the PR was bad enough, they were like, okay, now we're getting bad press anyway. Let's just get rid of them and then deal with the fallout. So we have this story from The Verge. It says, by not banning Alex Jones, Twitter is making a political choice. Oh, is it? Please tell me more. CEO Jack Dorsey's rationale for letting the InfoWars conspiracy theorist stay is just the company's latest contradiction of its terms of lip service. Haha, very, very funny. Oh, and this is by Parker Malloy. She blocked me on Twitter because I very easily refuted a silly claim she made. She stated that, look, you have to ban InfoWars because he's essentially harassing the victims, the families of the victims of Sandy Hook. That because of the videos he's created, people, they were forced to move and people were hounding this family. And my response was, sure, but Newsweek actually went to the home of Dorian Nakamoto and accused him of founding Bitcoin, resulting in him getting the same problems and harassment. And I would actually argue that accusing someone of being the founder of Bitcoin is much more dangerous and irresponsible. Look, what Alex Jones did in terms of Sandy Hook is just downright awful. It's detestable. But Newsweek did something similar. So if we're going to say that's the grounds for which we're going to get rid of InfoWars, great. When's Newsweek up on the chopping block? Because they've done something similar or maybe worse, maybe not. But either way, they've gotten a guy, his family harassed. And this is an old man. If you're not familiar with the story, the writing was awful. They did such poor work. They assumed this guy, because he worked in tech and he was Japanese and his last name was Nakamoto, he must have founded Bitcoin. When most people think Satoshi Nakamoto, the founder of Bitcoin, it's just an alias. But this was Newsweek. This was their cover story. And they were wrong. And they're being sued because of it. So are we going to get rid of Newsweek? I don't like Newsweek. They're a hyper-partisan rag. But do we get rid of them? No. So let's take a look at this story. And let's see, if Parker Malloy is one of those people who can't actually deal with... Look, I didn't tweet to her. I just quoted her tweet and said, here are several instances where the press generated a furor, like rallying people for war. There's the story of Dorian Nakamoto, and there's another story of some guys I think it was in El Salvador or something, that were accused falsely and forced to flee their homes. It happens. And because I presented this counter-argument, I earned the privilege of being blocked by Parker Malloy. That's really great. That's great. Let's see what their argument is. InfoWars host Alex Jones is being banished from the internet. Over the past few days, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest have all curtailed Jones's presence to one extent or another, even YouPorn. Banned the 44-year-old conspiracy theorist after right-wing carnival barker from its platform. I envy the time before I knew that there was Alex Jones-related content on YouPorn, but I digress. Let's do, you know what I want to do from now on? Is we'll do something called Is It an Op-Ed? Okay, no. I don't see anything showing this to be an editorial or an opinion piece. That would be pretty important when you're going to insult somebody. So I think it's just safe to assume that literally all articles on the internet at this point are opinion pieces. So there you go. But the InfoWarriors of the world have no reason to fear. Jones's presence on Twitter seems plenty safe for the foreseeable future. Why? Because that's just what the company is, or at least what it is today. We didn't suspend Alex Jones or InfoWars yesterday. We know that's hard for many, but the reason is simple. He hasn't violated our rules, wrote Jack Dorsey. Kicking off a string of tweets that have been met with yet another wave of frustrated criticism from journalists and marginalized users. We'll enforce if he does. And we'll continue to promote a healthy conversation environment by ensuring tweets aren't artificially amplified. I'm going to have to agree to a certain extent with many on the left and many of the pro-censorship individuals who want to see Alex Jones banned for political reasons, that Twitter is entirely hypocritical. We know Twitter selectively bans people. It just happened with Candace Owens. Okay, Sarah Jeong can tweet hate targeting a race, which is a violation of Twitter's rules, and for years, there's no problem. But Candace Owens, to make a point, copies the tweet and changes white to Jewish and is suspended almost immediately. Now, I believe they apologized and reinstated her. But come on, we know Twitter's full of shit. They're selective in all and everything they do. So I really do have to wonder why they're not going after Alex Jones. It could be because of all the selective targeting of conservatives, because of the stories about Twitter shadow banning conservatives, like high-profile people with the RNC, and then banning Candace Owens. They realize they really do have a problem dealing with conservatives and really have to back off. Although I do think it's a bit unfair to refer to Alex Jones in the same space as conservatives, because let me just say that Ben Shapiro is a conservative, Alex Jones is something else. You can call him, he's something else. Sure, he might be conservative, but I don't want to label him under that, because Ben Shapiro is intelligent, well-reasoned, and has sane ideas. And Alex Jones, in a video, claimed that they were third dimension people, or they're interdimensional beings speaking through the third dimension, or some other nonsense like that. So conflating this with the right, I think, is a bit unfair. But there are a lot of people defending Alex Jones. And I take that back. It's not that anything I've said or anything most of these people are saying is meant to be a defense of Alex Jones. It's a defense of his right to speak, to exist, and to entertain his ideas. And it's how many times can I say it in a video that it's scary that we're going to enter a future where political discourse is controlled by a few massive corporations. It's funny. That's like a left-wing position, like criticizing major corporations. It's so funny to see the right now rallying behind this and the left on the other side. I have no idea what's going on. So let's see what I said. There's a couple other stories, so I'll skim through the rest of this, see what the I don't want to go through all this. Basically what they say is there's a lot of dissonance between the two approaches. For instance, the company's hateful conduct policy prohibits users from engaging in targeted harassment, making unwanted sexual advances, or harassing others on the basis of race, ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, religious affiliation, age, disability, or serious disease. But take a quick glance at Twitter and you'll find no shortage of accounts promoting racist, homophobic, transphobic, or Islamophobic content. Like Sarah Jeong, which are all seemingly clear violations of the site's own policies. But should you actually report the tweets and accounts that are promoting these views, you'll no doubt receive your fair share of notices informing that actually none of the company's policies were violated. I had someone threaten me with violence. They said they were going to find me and harm me. And Twitter said it was fine. I had someone here's the funny thing. Someone said they were going to harm me, rob me, and steal my phone. Twitter said, look, they can say they're going to steal your phone, that's fine. Then I had someone say something that was like, I'd love to get a BJ from Tim or something, and I reported that as homophobia, and it was taken down immediately. I kind of did it as an experiment to see, like, okay, I can't remember exactly what the tweet was, but it was a bit more egregious than that. It was something to the effect of, you could construe it as homophobia by implying that I would denigrate denigrate myself by performing a male-on-male sex act. It was meant as a direct insult to me. And they're willing to take that down. But when someone said, the next time they see me, they're going to punch me in the face and steal my stuff, Twitter was like, no, that's fine. So I don't want to get stuck on this too much, because I think the argument is silly for a few reasons. Twitter is totally contradictory. I have no idea why they didn't ban Alex Jones, because they banned everybody else. It literally makes no sense. But I want to get into this real quick, just for a few minutes. because it seems like Buzzfeed, here's an article, it says Apple defends its decision to allow InfoWars in the App Store, and I'll give you the quick version. Basically, they said Alex Jones's podcast is technically hosted by Apple. They're hosting a link to his podcast, and so they essentially just removed that link. You know, Alex Jones's podcast is on a different platform, and it's referred to by Apple, okay? What they said is, they could see a clear list of his episodes, go through them and say, this violates our content policy, and give him that list. But when it comes to his app, the InfoWars app, they can't do that, because the app links to his website and it constantly changes. So on Apple's platform, there is just an app that links to a website. And they said, look, that doesn't violate our rules. If it does at some point, because he's promoting some content on it, we'll get rid of it. So what's interesting here is Charlie Warzel with Buzzfeed said, this got lost a bit in the late night publish, but Apple's explanation for keeping InfoWars in the App Store is really cryptic, and perhaps a hint that its decision to remove Jones from podcast iTunes was not the important moral stand that it was billed as. Is he implying that it was a PR move, that the media pressured Apple into making this decision in removing Alex Jones? It has nothing to do with morals. I don't know why it's so hard for these people to say that. I think it's absolutely clear that is the fact. I think it's the equation. Are they going to lose money on the bad PR of having InfoWars or getting rid of them? If they get rid of InfoWars, they're going to face a backlash from InfoWars fans. So which is worse? Well, when all of these media companies, when CNN won't stop berating you about why you're hosting them, eventually you're like, this is costing us too much in bad PR, get rid of them. Because now the damage from CNN is more than the fallout from banning Alex Jones. So, I don't know. Anyway, here are your basic updates on what's going on with Alex Jones. Apparently someone said that the iPhone app and the Google Play Store app were like number 1 or something. I don't know if that's true. I didn't look into it. Suffice it to say, Twitter won't ban him, and his podcast, the app still exists on Google and iOS as far as I know. And it looks like now even people on the left at BuzzFeed are questioning the morality of Apple. So, I don't know. Anyway, stick around. I've got maybe 1 or 2 more videos coming up in just a few minutes.